Otto Graham takes the snap from Frank Gatsky, fades and passes to Dante Lavelli, who goes down and out. Dante for a touchdown. And so the Browns have scored again and are on the way to victory. Yes, friends, 1953 was another great year in the history of the Cleveland Browns. They finished in first place in their division of the National Football League, and they qualified for a professional football championship game for the 8th year in a row. It is truly a tribute, through the long years of keen competition, to the organization and planning of Coach Paul Brown and his staff of assistant coaches. And now we'd like to take you into the conference rooms to give you some indication of what it takes to build a winning team. It often has been said that the game of football is like playing chess with men. And while the final score is posted on Sunday afternoon, the intricate details that go into offensive and defensive preparation often are worked out months in advance. The Browns, the football season extends beyond that first day of training camp and the last game on the schedule. There are more huddles than the ones you see on the field. Examination time. College days are over for the Browns, but the players still get grades. Blanton Collier spends many hours at the Viewer, making a study of every play run during the season, grading players on technique and carrying out assignments. Guard coach Fritz Heisler works closely with John Borza, the Browns photographer. Movies now are as much a part of the game as the football itself. Borza displays a new type lens he believes will improve his efficiency in catching the Browns in action. Howard Brinker coaches the ends and does the scouting. He's like the unsung linemen who clear the way for the backs. Brinker rarely sees the Browns play, but through his scouting, paves the way for strategy to be used in future games. Howard keeps the results of his studies on both individuals and teams carefully filed for handy reference. Tackle coach Weeb Eubank was in charge of the Browns' search for new talent. He made an extensive study of players eligible for the draft, followed their progress throughout the season, was in constant contact with the college coaches, and from the assembled information, arranged the draft program. Weeb is now head coach of the Baltimore Colts, and Eddie Ulinski, former Brown, has taken over as tackle coach. New players join the squad every season, mingle with the veterans as they head for the dressing room, and then down the long hill to the practice field and the first contact work of the training camp. Winning football starts with sound fundamentals. In Coach Paul Brown's system, every player, veteran and rookie, starts work on the simple phases of the game. Fritz Heisler shows the technique used by guards in pulling out of the line to lead a play. Weeb Eubank conducts a drill in pass protection for the tackles, and Howard Brinker has his ends at another corner of the field. Backfield men carry the ball, but they also must know how to block. Blanton Collier moves in to make a suggestion in a blocking drill between two backfield candidates. And surveying the entire program is the head coach, Paul Brown. He darts from group to group around the practice field, checking the progress of the entire squad. Two of the friendliest guys in camp are trainer Leo Murphy and assistant trainer Maury Kono. And they're nice guys to have around, as guard Abe Gibran found out when Abe was bothered by a stiff neck. Time for relaxation, but football is always the topic. The coaches take every advantage of opportunities to talk to the players they coach. Pete Brewster, offensive left end, and veteran Horace Gillum huddle with Howard Brinker. Tackle play is the subject here. Weeb Eubank directs some remarks to Lou Groza, the place-kicking star. Huddle of the halfbacks on the patio of the Green Hotel in Pasadena, headquarters on California trips. Blanton Collier and two defensive backs, Warren Lahr and Tommy James. Dub Jones, offensive right halfback. Ken Gorgel rejoined the team after Army duty. At the rim of the hotel swimming pool, it's football, not swimming, for a group of linemen and Fritz Heisler, who again conducts a little demonstration. Watching are Lynn Houston, who played his 8th season, Chuck Knoll, Cleveland boy, who made good as an offensive guard, Bill Willis, the defensive specialist, center Frank Gatsky, and Abe Gibran, offensive left guard. No detail was overlooked by the coaches in the long months leading up to the regular season. They exerted every effort to produce another winner. Some eager new players joined the squad, replacing departed veterans. 7 rookies and 2 men with previous pro experience made the team. There was a perfect blend of youth and experience, and a season of excitement was on the way. It started up in Milwaukee, where the Browns opened against the Green Bay Packers in the new county stadium. Ronnie Gibbs signals that the Packers will kick off. The Browns co-captains, Otto Graham and Tommy Thompson, shake hands with Bob Ford of the Packers, and the season is on. On one of the early offensive plays, Otto Graham fakes a handoff to Ray Renfro, throws a screen pass to Dub Jones, and the Dubber combines good blocking and individual effort to carry the ball to the 1-yard line, into position for Graham to sneak over for the first touchdown of the year. Defensive play featured the Browns' work through the early games of the year. 6'8" Doug Atkins, while Tommy Thompson catches the deflected ball, and the Browns have another scoring opportunity. Rushing the passer is very important. Thompson comes through the big hole in the line, makes a stab for Tobin Rote, and Don Colo, number 70, and Bill Willis, number 60, wrap up the Packer quarterback. Chick Jagady in high gear, slow motion. This is the type of film that's used by the coaches for their study of individual performances. The Browns won the opener 27-0. From Milwaukee, the Browns moved south to Chicago and made fast work of getting some points on the scoreboard against the Cardinals. On the first offensive play, Graham threw a long pass to Dante LaValle, who shows that extra effort pays off as he stretches to catch the ball, tumbles to the ground, then gets up to run for the touchdown. The defensive unit again made it a long afternoon for the opposing quarterback, as Jim Root learned early when Darrell Palmer and Jerry Helwin broke through to throw him for a loss. Root succeeds this time, throwing to right end Don Stonecipher, who then laterals out to Charlie Trippi. Trippi moves in for the Cardinals' only score of the game. The Browns won 27-7. The Browns then returned home to open their home season against the Philadelphia Eagles in a night game at the stadium. They were wearing their new orange jerseys, which photographed gray. Lou Groza gave the Browns a 6-0 lead with a pair of field goals, but the Eagles made a fight of it, and here Adrian Burke threw a screen pass to Jerry Williams for a big gain. Williams was finally brought down by Tommy Thompson. John Brewer then took a pitch out from Burke, managed to stay in bounds, and scored the touchdown that made it 6-6. Lenny Ford grounds the Eagles fullback one-handed, but just a little late. The Browns made a specialty of blocking kicks, and they stopped Bob Walston on this conversion attempt when Bill Willis leaped high to block the effort. The combination of Graham and Dante LaValle again worked effectively. From midfield, they clicked on 2 consecutive passes to produce another Cleveland touchdown. The first was a sideline effort on which Dante got away from one Eagle, but didn't outrun defensive halfback Skip Giancanelli. There's no defense against an effort like this one. Dante makes a magnificent one-handed stab near the end zone to score. You know, sometimes plays aren't carried out just the way they're planned. Adrian Burke goes back to pass and then decides it's better to run with the ball. It looks like Burke used pretty good judgment. Right guard Lynn Houston pulls out of the line to lead the way for Chick Jagady, and Chick uses his escort effectively and continues on to another Cleveland score. Alertness always pays off, and here's a big moment for Jerry Helwin. The 290-pound tackle shows he still has some of the speed that made him an outstanding high school fullback. It's the Browns' final touchdown, and victory number 3 has been achieved. A capacity crowd in Washington watched the pregame ceremonies before the Browns went after their 4th straight victory against the Redskins. It was one of 5 times during the year that the Browns played before a capacity crowd. And Ray Renfro provided some early excitement by bursting through guard, cutting sharply, and moving forward for a good gain. Len Ford had another fine day in the town in which he played high school football. 2 men often are assigned to work on Lenny, number 80, as he rushes the passer, but the strategy doesn't always work as Tom Catlin, number 50, moves in to drop Eddie LeBaron for a loss. Ford crashes through this time, but the slippery little LeBaron almost makes a play work as he escapes Lenny's grasp and gets away a lateral to Chuck Drazenovich. Late in the 3rd period, the Redskins raised the hopes of their fans as Jack Cloud intercepted a flat pass and ran to a touchdown. It gave the Redskins fans a chance to shake the rafters as it put their team in a 14-13 lead. Dante Lavelli, in his 8th season of pro football, has a long history of being a clutch player, and he led the Browns' 4th quarter rally that netted 17 points in the last 12 minutes of play to pull out the victory. The rally started with Lavelli outmaneuvering Don Dahl for a touchdown pass. And now the Washington crowd was silent. A rookie always wonders when his big chance is going to come. Billy Reynolds didn't have to wait long. He scores the first touchdown of his pro career. Lou Groza then followed with a field goal, and the Browns won 30-14. The rain showed up in New York, but the tarpaulin didn't. However, the spirit of the band wasn't dampened. Take notice, if you will, of the white uniforms right now, because you won't see them that way very long. Graham hits Lavelli with an early pass, and Dante soaks up the first mud of the game. Graham, looking like the gingerbread boy, throws to Dub Jones. Dub won't get his picture in that paper. The first quarter ended with no score. This game featured the power running of halfback Ken Carpenter and Billy Reynolds. Carpenter swims forward for a key gain in the Browns' touchdown drive. On Lou Groza's field goal attempt, the Giants were offside and the Browns had a first down in deep. Otto Graham sneaks over for the only touchdown of the game. With control of the ball an important factor, Billy Reynolds, whose number is covered with mud, but whose heart is filled with desire, drives for an important gain. The half ended 7-0. If you thought the first half was bad, Wait till you see this. The next few plays are shown merely to give you an idea of what it might be like to play football in an oversized pan of grease. On the last play, Ken Gorgel saves the victory for the Browns with an interception on the goal line. And the Browns win it 7-0. Now the big question is, who's got the soap? A return game was played with the Redskins in Cleveland, and the Browns followers were anxiously watching, wondering if the winning streak would be extended. Dub Jones is a quiet and likable fellow away from the football field, but apparently he doesn't like to have his picture taken, as here he gets his second photographer of the season. Eddie LeBaron's pass downfield is stolen by Tommy James. Tommy goes down, then he gets up again, and he gives the Browns possession of the ball. The Redskins take over again, and LeBaron hits Justice with a long one. Watch this juggling act. Choo-Choo's got it, but he's brought down by Ken Gorgel. Horace Gillum displays his dexterity in handling the ball on a punt. Sometimes a punt can gain a lot of yards, as the Browns did on this one by Gillum. Charlie Justice grabs the ball and starts upfield, but he meets linebacker Walter Michaels, who brings him down with a jarring tackle. The ball is cut loose from Justice, and Tom Catlin, another Browns linebacker, recovers. After Washington took over again, a Redskin punt by LeBaron is taken by Billy Reynolds, who packs a lot of power in those short, churning legs. Look at him go. In my business, they call this ad-libbing. This is not according to the script, as Reynolds turns a double reverse into some quick thinking and a touchdown. And so the streak continued. The Redskins were beaten 27-3. The Browns now were at the halfway point in their schedule, and the defensive unit had been playing spectacular football, allowing only 37 points, or an average of 1 touchdown per game for the first 6 games. Ken Gorgel, a big star in his first season in 1950, returned to duty as a safety man. Tommy James held down his old position at right half. Kenny Collins, the #1 draft choice in 1951, took over a regular job in the defensive backfield, and George Young played his 8th season as a defensive end and then announced his retirement. Doug Atkins of Tennessee gave the Browns the same kind of size at left end as they have in Lenny Ford at right end. In Cleveland, we have a tarpaulin, and the ground crew works on Sunday. The Pittsburgh Steelers learned you can have good field conditions in most any kind of weather and took a 9-0 lead. Then Ken Carpenter slashed over the left side and fought his way for the Browns' first score of the day. Pete Brewster became the Browns' first-string offensive left end in 1953. In the Steeler game, he showed why fans took to his fine play. Pete catches a pass and battles for every inch, showing once more how that little extra effort helps win football games. With Ray Matthews in motion, Jim Finks, the Steelers quarterback, uncorks a long pass downfield. Warren Lahr, the Browns' left halfback, a choice on the All-Pro team for the second straight year, makes an interception and turns in a long run. Warren once was an outstanding offensive back at Western Reserve, and he hasn't forgotten how to run with the ball. The Browns leave nothing to chance in calling plays. Blanton Collier and Fritz Heisler observe the game from a vantage point high up in the stands. They relay their information to Weeb Eubank and Paul Brown on the bench phone. Chuck Knoll then carries in a message to Otto Graham. Lynn Houston, who alternates with Chuck on every play, runs off the field. And here's one of those plays that really work to perfection. Ray Renfro takes a pitch out from Otto Graham, opens the throttle as he rambles for 44 yards and a touchdown. Renfro comes winging in from right end, blocks this kick, scoops up the ball, and rays away on a long touchdown run. This was a very big day for Renfro. The Browns were leading only 17-16. The Steelers' Nick Bolkovac tried the field goal, and it was the key play of the game as the Browns won by a score of 31-16. The Browns and San Francisco 49ers have built up a colorful and spirited rivalry since both teams were organized 8 years ago. With the Browns still fighting to keep their unbeaten record alive and the 49ers battling for first place in the National League's Western Division, the old rivals clashed at the stadium. More than 80,000 fans sat in on one of the most memorable games in the Browns' history. The Browns scored first with Billy Reynolds taking a pitch out from Graham and crawling into the end zone. And the crowd went wild. Hugh McElhenney, one of the league's greatest backs, brought the 49ers back with a vengeance as he ripped off a long gain. Kenny Collins finally catches him and hangs on. Otto Graham decides to run, and this is it. Here's where Graham gets hurt for the second time in his professional career. Watch this one closely. The Browns quarterback was forced out of action and into the locker room, where Dr. Vic Ippolito did a 45-minute repair job using 15 stitches to close Otto's facial wound. George Radaman took over at quarterback the rest of the first half. He hands off to Marion Motley, and Marion's effort brings a roar from the crowd, but only for a moment as the play was called back for offside. Graham borrowed Chick Jagadi's helmet with a special face mask, and he was back in time to take the field the first time the Browns had the ball in the second half. Otto had a fine second half. He completed 9 of 10, the first going to Billy Reynolds for plenty of yards. Ray Renfro made a habit of coming up with a big play in every game. Graham hits again. Renfro's got it, and he's off and running. Watch that sideline, Ray. The Browns won this important game 23-21. The University of Pittsburgh. This tower of learning overlooking Forbes Field has turned out many great football players, including Billy Reynolds. Watch Billy go. Second down, 1 to go. Will the Browns go for the first down of the jackpot? Graham goes for the distance, and he gets it, with Renfro making the score. Lou Groza's mighty toe again figured prominently in the Browns' success. He set 2 new field goal records for the league and finished second in individual scoring for the season. His longest of the year came from 50 yards out. While the Browns won another game, they lost Tommy Thompson, their great linebacker and captain of the defensive unit. An inspirational leader, Thompson suffered a dislocated knee that kept him on the sidelines the rest of the year. His knee was set by Dr. Vic Ippolito on the field and then packed in ice along the sidelines. Despite the pain, Thompson returned to the bench to root for the team in the second half, which caused one player to remark, "Well, I've heard of players being carried off the field, but this is the first time I've ever seen one carried back on." The Pittsburgh victory was the 9th in a row. The Browns needed one more to clinch an 8th straight divisional title. They met the winless Chicago Cardinals and really had to go all out, proving once more there isn't much difference between winning and losing in the Pro League. Chick Jagady got the first touchdown for the Browns. Billy Cross, the smallest man in pro football, who is sometimes called the Canadian Comet, comes up with one of the best broken field runs of the season. Ken Cairns finally makes the tackle. Plays like that one often encourage long-distance suggestions by Coach Paul Brown. And Otto Graham has a word of encouragement for the defensive unit, too. Johnny Olszewski, the All-American from California, makes another long run for the Cardinals. And this certainly didn't look like a team that hadn't won a game all season. Olszewski almost makes it, but Warren Lahr knocks him out of bounds. Graham passing. Renfro catching. And Ray staggers along for every inch. Renfro again, and this time he goes in for the touchdown that puts the Browns back in the lead. The Cardinals gave it all they had as they tried desperately to pull out a victory. With 55 seconds left, Jim Root darts in and out trying to get off a long pass. He fumbles, and Tommy James picks up the loose ball to run for the touchdown that settles it. With the Eastern Division Championship sewed up, the Browns still had 2 games left on the regular schedule. The New York Giants came to Cleveland for the final home game of the year. Browns-Giants games in the past had always been very close, but this one was an exception. George Radaman started his first game at quarterback for the Browns, and George had a big day. Early in the game, he threw a touchdown pass to Pete Brewster. Even with the division title a certainty, a big crowd came to see the Browns, and the fans were happy over what they saw. Radaman, a master at faking, pitched out to Ray Renfro, and Ray ran a tightrope down the sidelines for 56 yards and a touchdown, and a rout was underway. Quarterback Radaman and Coach Paul Brown listen intently as the Browns fullback Chick Jagady discusses a point. Jagady must have uncovered a weakness in the Giants' defense. And the strategy paid off. With excellent protection from the Browns line, Radaman had plenty of time, and he spotted Brewster going deep on a down-and-out pattern, and he hit the lanky end with another scoring pass. Radaman again flips out to Renfro. Ray starts wide, then tries his hand at passing as he uncorks one to Brewster, and Pete went in for his third touchdown of the game. This was Brewster's biggest day in pro football, and many more should be on the way. At the half, the Zanesville and Urbana High School bands entertained, and the Browns led 31-7. A substitute quarterback named Graham got into the act in the second half. He's not a bad quarterback either. He threw and completed 4 passes, including this mighty touchdown heave to the swift Renfro. The defense got in on the scoring act, too. Walt Michaels picks off a Connolly pass and goes for another Cleveland touchdown. And everybody stayed until the end as the Browns won 62-14, coming within 4 points of their own scoring record and 8 points of the league record for scoring in a single game. And so they came to the finale of the regular season. The Eagles in Philadelphia, an undefeated season at stake, and the Eagles had plenty at stake too. A chance to knock off the only unbeaten team in pro football and a shot at second place money. A sellout crowd sat in. It looked like it might be easy first. Marion Motley picked up plenty of yards on a toss from Graham to put the Browns in scoring position. Otto quiets the crowd. Then Ray Renfro gets a glimpse of daylight to slide through the right side and over to put the Browns in the lead. And there's no happiness in this crowd. But the Eagles came fighting back, and quarterback Bobby Thomason pitched a scoring pass to Toy Ledbetter. And the Eagles went on to a convincing and satisfying victory, the final score 42-27. Then on to the championship game with the Detroit Lions. A capacity crowd of more than 55,000 at Briggs Stadium. Countless millions watching on television. A coast-to-coast radio audience. And 66 football players battling for the highest honor in their sport. The co-captain's manner of the field. Bobby Lane of the Lions kicked off. George Young took it, and here you get an idea of the terrain. Frozen and slippery in some spots, in good condition in others. The first big break comes early. Linebacker Joe Schmidt of the Lions breaks through and knocks the ball from Graham's hands. Les Bingaman, the 320-pound middleman on the Lions' defensive line, lands on the ball to give the Lions possession. The Lions capitalized on that break. Gene Gedman drives inside the Browns' 10 and onto the 6-yard line. 5 plays later, after making a first down on the 3, the Lions made it on 4th down. Doak Walker blasting over for the score. Walker also kicked the point, and the Lions lead 7-0. Later, the Browns got a break. Bob Hornschmeyer fumbles, and Len Ford falls on the ball, giving the Browns possession on the 6. The quarter ends with the Lions leading 7-0, and the teams move to the other end of the field. Graham throws to Lavelle in the end zone, but the combination of slippery turf and Lion defensive pressure made it miss. Close, but not enough. The Lion defense was superb, and on fourth down, the Browns' Lou Groza kicked the field goal. The Lions took to the offense. Lane is trapped and he starts running. Bill Willis starts the chase. Colo makes a stab. Ford helps out. This was an important play as it took the Lions out of field goal range on fourth down. Doak Walker gives it a try, but the kick is short, and the Browns take over. Graham's pass skims off Ken Carpenter's fingertips, and Jim David intercepts. The Lions are on the move again. Graham fades to pass. Can't find a receiver, decides to run. He laterals out to Ken Carpenter, who is downed on the 8-yard line. John Chick-Chigady was the top ground gainer of the day with 102 yards. He makes 9 of them right here, smashing in for the touchdown. Lou Groza converts, and it's all tied 10-10. Now here's a key play. Jug Gerard took Groza's kickoff and ran into Sherman Howard, who bounces him down with a mighty tackle. Watch this one. It looks like a break for the Browns, but the Lions kept the ball. With the Browns in possession, Dub Jones drives upfield. The third quarter ended with the score tied 10-10. Graham fades again, a pass to Renfro in the flat. The pass was ruled incomplete. On fourth down, Lou Groza kicks a field goal, and the Browns lead for the first time, 13-10. Football sometimes is a game of inches. Here's a good example. Chick-Chigady goes jarring into the line. He's almost away, but that jersey holds up, and that makes the difference. The Lions defense holds again, and Groza kicks another one from the 43-yard line. The Browns lead 16-10. And the crowd starts watching the clock as much as the game. Time is important now. On a third down possession play, Lane completes a pass to Jim Doran, subbing for the injured Leon Hart at right end, and the Lions keep the ball. Again it's Doran. The Iowa farm boy leaps to take another. 2 minutes and 8 seconds left, and Bobby Lane fades again. Doran is down and deep, and the payoff pitch is perfect. The Lions are jubilant, and so is the Detroit crowd as Doak Walker kicks the point after touchdown, giving the Lions the margin by which they won. The Browns were still fighting for a comeback, but Graham's first down pass is intercepted by rookie back Karl Kurilovitz. Lions have retained their championship 17-16. The game and season are over. A year of work ends in frustration for the Browns, in happiness for the Detroit Lions and their fans. But now the story goes back to chapter number 1. A new year is here. Coaches again are at work, studying and planning for another season not so far away. A season in which the efforts will be united to achieve the objective to bring the National League Championship back to Cleveland and to continue to give Cleveland fans the best show in football.